Hey, Christ family. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so we're finally at the end now of this long chapter 100. This is my rendition of Mother Mary. This one came out a little older than I'd like, but I tried to give her freckles because in the Holy Megillah it talks about her parents. And if you've heard of the prophetess and that's her grandmother on her mom's side. I'm kind of jumping out of order, but I just wanted to share with you what Neviah said to Mother Mary. And so I'm reading from page 835 of the Holy Megillah Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way, and this starts at verse 282. When Nebiah placed her hands upon the crown of Mother Mary, she said, Mary, what words can praise you to the extent that you deserve? Your level of manifestation within the Essene order of Immaculate Conception is made abundantly clear by the fact that you have fulfilled its long intended purpose. You have given birth to and wonderfully mothered the Lord Christ. I stand before you in awe, and I foresee that I do not stand alone, for behold, every generation that will follow from now until the end of this world will call you blessed. And they do. Now, Hail Mary, right? Full of grace. The Lord is with thee. So now I wanted to jump to chapter 6 because it talks about her parents in there. I'm going to start at verse 7. Many Nazarenes gathered for this wedding, for lo, Joseph was the son of the high priest and high priestess of the Nazarean nation of Yahshua, and Mary was the daughter of two great Nazarene teachers who had recently been martyred while on a mission. The name of Mary's martyred father was Absalom, and he was called Absalom the Healer, and his name means Father of Peace. For even among the other healers, his skill was renowned. The name of Mary's martyred mother was Laba, for she had hair as red as fire. She was of light skin with freckles, having migrated from over the sea to marry Absalom, who had carried the Nazarene teachings to her homeland and returned with her for a wife. And it says her parents had been put to death by Aaronite secret police for possessing a copy of the Holy Megillah. Mary's mother was Irish, and they were practicing the order of the Immaculate Conception, yes, in the ancient land of Irie, because Nazarenes scattered everywhere after, the raising of El Cush. They went to all the distant lands, and there were settlements everywhere. So I'm going to jump now to chapter 43. In verse 42, when Absalom first set eyes on Leba, her hair red like fire, eyes peacefully emerald green, he was in love. For her countenance was lovely in every way, and the light around her was wholesome and heavenly. She wore her hair in long braids, and around her head was a crown of herbs and flowers of blue, red, and white. And around her neck was the emblem of the order of Shemesh and Shemaiah. And in her eyes, says, was the wisdom of the white rose. And in her hand was the staff of a lioness of courageous heart. It says Leba, who lived in Gan Shalom in Irene, was a master herbalist like Absalom. Wherefore, when Absalom arrived with a generational shipment of texts from the mother temple, Leba and Absalom discovered their mutual interest and compared knowledge of herbs. Each learned from the other. Leba fell in love with Absalom when she first looked into his eyes. Perhaps the best way to say it is that Absalom and Leba recognized their love for one another. For behold, they recognized each other from previous lives. Therefore it is said that they were soulmates. And it says here in verse 59, Leba and Absalom were each of the fifth generation of the order of the Immaculate Conception. Thus, Mother Mary was of the sixth generation, and Yahshua was of the seventh generation of that order of Immaculate Conception. And so I just want to say this before we get started. We've been hearing a lot about the order of the Immaculate Conception, and you have to know that there were a few reasons why the Lord and the Lady had to incarnate here. And so the order of the Immaculate Conception is just what made it possible for the human body to be able to hold that high of a vibration. It took 7 generations, and I'm starting to see a bigger picture. So at the end of this video, I may go and read a little bit more, like from the prophecy of Micah on the three comings of the Magdal Eater, because we had a different type of body before the fall, and I think that's that etheric resurrection body that Yahshua was wearing after the crucifixion. All right, let's get going. This is Salika. It's pronounced Sel-E-Ka, and it means forgiveness. Nice, right? So she studied in Ethiopia underneath the now Yair Nabia, and she was also a student at the same time as Miriam, but it took her a little longer to graduate. But listen at what Yahshua says about that. It is not for lack of good reason that you were with Nabia for a long duration in Ethiopia, before you joined the companions of the Lord and Lady, and before Nebiah returned to Alexandria to serve as Yair, so that Rose could join the companions, you were at the side of Nebiah in Ethiopia for great purpose, he says. That purpose was so that you could witness and record some of her teachings and interactions with others. I asked you to write a scroll that will be called Some Sayings and Interactions of Nebiah the Prophetess. I name you Apostle of the Scroll of Nebiah. That scroll will be added to the new edition of the Holy Megillah. Wow, I can't wait to read that scroll. I'm telling you too, and if you're new here, you may not know this Megillah is not finished. And a man over 50 years to get this translation done, and we should be getting it by the end of this year. He said the final edition, which is going to probably be all of these scrolls that we hear Yahshua telling these people to write. So, like I said, I can't wait. Nebiah said to Wizardess Salika, because now remember, this is her student, because you have been such a faithful student, and because you witnessed my interactions with other students, including Miriam, our watchtower, I ask that you write down some key remembrances of those interactions that you witnessed or were told about. I foresee that Nazarenes in the future will enjoy reading that scroll and will think kindly of you, the faithful friend of Miriam, Our Lady Christ. And now I'm going to jump over to chapter 43, because Malika spoke some words right before the wedding of the Lord and Lady. And she says in verse 369, really nice. This is on page 585 right now that I'm reading from. I am the turtle who wins the race due to perseverance on the path. Behold, I have made it to yet another finish line, for I have crossed a great distance to join the Lady Christ at her wedding, and now I follow her to another finish line. And thus I will follow her from lifetime to lifetime, from cycle to cycle, as I also will follow Jahdeel, come as Yahshua. These are the trusted travel companions. And all right, so now we're moving on to Mother Mary. Mary had a little lamb. Ha ha. Let's listen to what Yeshua said to his mother. Yeshua appeared to his mother Mary. He said, Mother, I love you so very much. Wherefore, as you heard at Golgotha, I have asked my closest friend, Yohanan, to care for you as though you were his own mother. Until we meet again in the heavenly realms and have further adventures together, I ask that you take good care of Yohanan. Between you and Sita, I trust he will behave himself. I ask that you assist Yohanan with the new teaching epistle, Essene Path. I name you Apostle of Holy Motherhood. I ask that you write a scroll on motherhood that will be included in the new edition of the Holy Megillah. And then he says to her, I will also have added to the new Megillah your Canticle of Love. Canticle of Love by Mary. So we have some scrolls from her in this Megillah already. He says in verse 166, before Joseph passed, he wrote 2 scrolls that will likewise be included in the Megillah. He says, I was blessed with great parents, and I wish to share their wisdom with the world. We're at verse 168. When Yahshua appeared to Bithiah, he said, the very fact that Gawenjaman permitted you to reside near him for so long is a testimony that you are both very spiritually refined and just as important to him, you are fun to be around. Having now been graced by your presence among the companions of the Lord and Lady, I know firsthand that you indeed are both. I ask that you write a scroll titled Teachings and Acts of Gawenjaman, as witnessed by Bithiah the Wizardess. That scroll will be included in the new edition of the Holy Megillah. I name you Apostle of the Wisdom of Gawenjaman to the world. He said, you will sometimes accompany the brothers, Zephaniah and Zebediah, on their adventures. Other times you will again enjoy the gardens in company of the Alephim. You will also sometimes teach at the Mother Temple on the topic of green magic. That's pretty interesting too. One of the companions of the Lord and the Lady that was still hanging with Gawenjaman. So there are stories from old Eden where Gawenjaman was here on the earth. And Gawenjaman is a part of that hidden arm too. And not only that, um, it's looking like he's immortal. I mean, wow, to be alive all the way this whole time, from Eden till now. Okay, so let's keep going though. Yahshua appeared to the Bardic brothers, Zephaniah and Zebediah, while they were practicing music together beneath a tree. Yahshua said, I must be moving on to El Cush, and so will not wait to find you each alone. That is appropriate, for your apostleship is a team. I name each of you an apostle, minstrel, bard, and joyfully send you to wherever you choose to roam. Your lyrics and stories are your means of teaching. Even when you sing to those that know not your language, they will feel your positive vibration. You each have learned many languages and will write songs in the languages of the land you visit. Much of your time will be spent in the land of Irene, where, as you know, there has long been a Nasarean mission. You will also visit some places that no Nasarean has been, and wherever you go, lo, I am with you. I ask that you send reports on some of your adventures to Sarah, so that she may mention some of them in the new Megillah. That is Zephaniah and Zebediah. So they lived a very long time, it says, also in this Megillah. At verse 186, it says, I, Sarah Jahleel, am happy to report that the brothers Zeph and Zeb did send some brief reports on their adventures that I will share in the Megillah. I am also happy to report that Miriam later informed me Yahshua also appeared to her after the crucifixion, which was a surprise. It says Yahshua said, I have learned from Zebulon that positive surprises are fun. Miriam replied, I am not very surprised, truth be told. After all, you were the king of positive surprises even before Zebulon was born. Yeshua told Miriam, while on the cross, wearing a human body, I will not deny that the pain was extreme. When the pain was almost unbearable, I took my mind off of it by composing a poem for you. Miriam told me that Yahshua then recited the poem, and it was a love poem. Miriam told me, Sarah, I am not going to recite it for you. Even the Lady Christ may have a private moment with her husband. Amen. So that is kind of like the end. Sarah just goes on to give us a little detail about the rest of the books that's coming next. But yes, I wanted to add some more about the Order of the Immaculate Conception, but you know what? I think I'm about to just make a whole series about that. All right. This would be her on her way to Gaul, the Lady Christ. And then I just threw, Yahshua in the boat real quick because he's a spirit. He can, like, float up into the sun from off the ship, something like that. But all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Be back soon.